this. It's so almost like the stars align perfectly when the Steelers defense, just when you think it's struggling, it's in the pits, it's down, then Cam Hayward comes back, Minkah Fitzpatrick comes back. They play a few bad quarterbacks, but
hey,
feel really good about this defense all of a sudden, Chris.
Yeah, for sure. Happy Football Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Southside Beat. Corey Crisan, Chris Halicke. Steelers defense playing better. Offense looking alive, looking like an NFL offense. Lighter schedule coming up. Dare I say that the Steelers are trending not just upward, but pretty well upward. Like looking at the remaining schedule, and now they get Minkah Fitzpatrick back. That's the big news from the day. Dude, I'm having a hard time trying to find a way. Just from watching this team the past couple seasons, I'm trying my pessimism wants to take over here, but man, I'll tell you what, this team is set up pretty well for a pretty good finish if they do their job right.
That's right. And it is a feel-good Friday, a football Friday here.
Yeah.
As they all are, from 3 until 3:30ish Eastern before DK and Ramon take over in about an hour for the Ramon Foster Show. And Chris, the big thing this week, obviously with the offense is one thing, but on the defensive side of the ball, 39's back. Minkah Fitzpatrick will play on Sunday for the first time in 4 games since he injured his hamstring in the early parts of the Steelers game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is going to be the first time since week 1 where all 3 of TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, almost said Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Minkah will be on the field at the same time. They've played 4 series together this season, 4. And that is through 11 games. So having these 3, this core of this defense healthy, we're going to see it for the first time. And again, they've done really well in terms of not allowing points, which is when you have one of the still on paper worst offenses in the NFL. That's how you're 7-4 through 11 games. But now with Minkah back, I mean, it changes everything as far as the outlook of this defense. And obviously, enough has already been said about Minkah and the player he is. He's the guy that does everything. He's the master communicator in the secondary on the back end. He's the guy that can play on all 3 levels really well. And really now what the Steelers are getting is momentum to me. Like you said, schedule lightens up. Of course, the Cardinals and the Patriots, 2 teams that their offenses are just not good. I mean, let's be blunt. They're in the bottom. I believe it's 7 in the league. Both of them are with respects to that. So this is time now for the Steelers to gain some momentum. Put it this way, okay? After the next 2 games, we should be talking about a 9-4 football team.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, looking at the schedule the rest of the way, I think if they go anything less than 4-2 the rest of the way, it's a disappointment. The schedule is that light. I mean, you got Arizona, New England at home. I don't care if New England's on a short week. They're a bad football team. So bad that whenever they showed the graphic last night, they couldn't even put a player to go under the Patriots logo. They had to put Bill Belichick under it. When obviously TJ Watt was the featured player for the Steelers side of it, but they couldn't even put a player.
Yep.
They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a running back. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a defensive line. They don't have a new injury report.
It's time.
It's time.
All right, let's
breaking news. We have to get a breaking news.
Yeah, we need the sounder, the sounder of the graphic. Okay, here we go. Only one Steeler is listed with an injury designation for Sunday's game, and that is Montravius Adams. Montravius Adams was downgraded to a limited practice on Friday after he practiced in full on Wednesday and Thursday, and he is questionable now for Sunday's game against the Cardinals. So Montravius Adams is the only one that has an injury designation. Minkah, 3 full days of practice. He's good to go. Kenny Pickett, 3 full days. Mike Tomlin mentioned Tuesday he had a little ankle tweak that he was working through. So Kenny, 3 full days of practice. Allen Robinson went back to full in practice on Thursday after a rest day, and he practiced in full again today. Deontay Johnson did not practice Thursday with an illness. Let's not start the conspiracy theory engine. Do not do it.
I've
It
had enough of talking about Deontay this week.
I know,
honestly.
but it feels like anytime you bring up 18, it's immediately going to reflect the play from Sunday. But
yeah,
rest assured, he was sent home with an illness. He was sick. He did not practice Thursday, but he's back in full today, and he's good to go. Good news on Calvin Austin, upgraded to full today. So Calvin Austin, good to go for Sunday, just as he told me yesterday. James Pierre was added to the injury report Thursday, but he practiced on a limited basis today, and he does not have an injury designation. And then Cam Hayward returned to practice in full today with his groin injury. So it's more of that maintenance for Cam. Cam's good to go for Sunday. So quick recap. The only Steeler with an injury designation for Sunday is Montravius Adams. He is questionable as he returns from an ankle injury. And to me, that's Montravius told me before the Browns game that his target date to come back was the Bengals game. And now this is, he missed the Bengals game, and this could be the second game after that. So maybe a wonder setbacks. He did return in limited capacities this week. So, we'll see on Mon Adams. But the big one, obviously, is Minkah. And, him getting back to at least practice for the first time. Since his hamstring injury against the Jags. I mean, you had a feeling that when he came back to full on Wednesday that he'd be good to go. And, today he talked about the injury and how it's just one of those like nagging things. Like one day you can feel amazing on it. The next day you can feel like crap on it, but you can't be playing until you're 110%. He referred to that twice, being 110%. And now Minkah is ready to go and will play officially on Sunday.
I like this point from Eric here. Comes in and says, with Keanu Benton and the other rookies stepping up, we are building a strong foundation all around. I agree 100%. And first off, the Steelers are really fortunate to be this healthy going into the first game of December. The offense is at full strength. The defense, obviously, you're missing Cole Holcomb, you're missing Quan Alexander, you're missing a couple of big pieces there in the second level, but to be this healthy, to pretty much outside of those two guys, pretty much only be without Mon Adams, that's a pretty significant development there. But then you add in what this rookie class has brought. I mean, I'll get to the offensive side here in a second, but just on the defensive side, Joey Porter Jr. turning into a shutdown cornerback as a rookie. Keanu Benton coming in, those are 2 second-round picks coming in and getting extra playing time with the injuries to Cam Hayward and to Mon Adams, and getting to become. And Darren says it here. Benton's play has forced Lee Allen to a lesser role. I mean, now granted, Benton came in, like a higher graded player than DeMarvin Leal did. What makes Benton so just so good at this point is just the fact. I would even say good. Like he's a good player already. Is his versatility. He can line up and be your zero. He can also slide all the way over to like a 3 or even a 4 tech and be able to play anywhere in between and be able to do a number of different things. You put a smaller guy on him, you put like a guard on him or something like that. He's going to be able to make the necessary moves in run defense. He also has a really violent way of getting off blocks and getting to the quarterback in a pass rush. And again, like the numbers aren't gaudy or anything like that, but he's a rookie. And he's already making an impact, even if it's not on the stat sheet. It's on the film, and it's it's noticeable elsewhere in terms of other analytics and stuff like that. Right. Nick Herbig also being a nice contributor every now and then on defense, and then obviously primarily for him on special teams. I mean, you look at some of the guys that have really stepped up. It's helped and Trenton Thompson even. I know he's not a rookie, but still being able to come in and fill in a role, that iron sharpens iron, next man up mentality. Now the Steelers, even without Keanu Neal, can run this 3 safety set if they want to, with Minkah back in the fold because Trenton Thompson has played so well. So overall, across the board, just great to see, younger players stepping up and carving out a role for themselves.
The three safety look was a topic of conversation today.
Mhm.
And Frank brought it up earlier here at the beginning of the show. Do the Steelers go with their three safety look? I think the play of Trenton Thompson allows for the continuity of that with
Mhm.
Thompson, Fitzpatrick, and KZ. And then even you could give that look with some Patrick Peterson if you really wanted to.
Yep.
And Pat
He's
P,
looked a lot better playing inside.
right. Terrell Austin has not been shy in deploying Pat P on the inside, whether that's in the box, at safety, at corner, in the slot, whatever it is. So there are now options and layers to this defense now. And it's really impressive that we're talking about this defense as positively as we are this late in the season when Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander, as Panzerstrek Pete here says, almost raised to the ground when it comes to the inside linebacker core. And they've been able to manage with, a Landon Roberts, who's been one of the best, if not the best run stuffer in the NFL. Michael Walker's come along to help call some signals. The expectation is that Blake Martinez is going to be, he's going to get a hat this weekend. Last weekend, he was made inactive. This weekend, it's expected that Blake Martinez is going to get a hat. So that kind of pushes Tariq Carpenter back. But at this point, you're talking about these depth options with, Blake Martinez and Miles Jack and Tariq Carpenter and all these guys. So like the fact that the Steelers defense is still holding its own as far as allowing points is concerned is a big deal. Now, I believe they're still 25th in the NFL in yards allowed. So they're clamping down in situations and they're playing well in situations, but the opposing offenses have been on the field way too long. And that's what, when they use the cliche 3 phases of football, right? Offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah.
A big thing that, I asked Cam Hayward and TJ Watt this week about was the fact that the Steelers offense was on the field for 37 minutes of the game against the Bengals. There's only 2 instances this season where the Steelers offense has been on the field for more than 30 minutes of the game. And they won both games. It was the Vegas game in the Bengals game. So that time of possession, that's when it starts to matter. When the defense is only playing 41 snaps, that's when it matters. And especially when 2 inside linebackers are down and they're allowing a boatload of yards and they're that bend but don't break mentality, right? When it comes to allowing points, getting Minkah back, having the offense gelling, or at least seemingly, at least from one game, the arrow is pointing up for this team, and this defense only has more room to grow. Now with the core 3, again, repeating, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, and TJ Watt have not been on the field together since week 1. That trio has been on the field for 4 defensive series in 11 games this year. That is a massive, massive deal.
Yes, and listen, there is a I'm gonna use another sport here as a metaphor for where like the Steelers rank in terms of like overall defensive numbers. In baseball, if a reliever has 11 outings, right? Steelers played 11 games, so I'll use 11 outings.
Yeah.
And let's say 8 or 9 of those outings, he gave up a total of like 3 runs. That'd be about a 3 ERA, if he pitched about an inning, let's say 9 outings, 3 runs, that's 3 ERA. Decent ERA. And then 2 of those other outings, he gave up 2 runs in one of them. Okay, that's not great. But then he got shellacked in one of them where he gave up like 5 runs. It inflates the entire ERA. And when somebody just pulls up their numbers on Baseball Reference, they're like, well, they're not good of a reliever. Well, you got to look at the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture to me is, what is this defense doing now? What have they done over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks? How are they looking now? Matt Williamson, our
good friend
contributor, Matt Williamson. Steelers have allowed a league low 5 passing touchdowns over their past 7 games. That's a huge stat. And then I'll give you the stat that I pulled up yesterday. Since week 5, the Steelers are outscoring their opponents in the fourth quarter 47-9. 9 points allowed in the past since week 5 in the fourth quarter. This defense is trending in the right direction, and they're getting healthier. And it's helped even more so by the Steelers being able to run the ball, averaging 174 yards on the game on the ground per game over the past 4 games.
Without Minkah, by the way.
Yes.
As Pete here says.
Yeah.
Without Minkah.
It's just Darren says metaphor Friday. I'm not going to tell metaphors the same way Colin Cowherd does it. I just can't do it.
Let's put it this way. They've allowed 14.5 points a game in their last 4 games, and they're 3-1. Now,
14.5 points a game. What would that rank right now?
It would be first in the league, I believe. But here's where the caveat comes. Here's where the but is. The 4 quarterbacks they have faced in the last 4 weeks: Will Levis, Jordan Love, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Jake Browning.
Who are they about to face for the next 6 games?
They're not about to face much. They're facing notably they're facing Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So
we're not speculating are the Steelers going to go on a Super Bowl run here? No, we're speculating on how can the Steelers finish the season on a high note and not only clinch a playoff spot, but possibly even win the division. And when you look at what they've been doing against really crappy quarterbacks, they've been playing really well. And guess what? Outside of Lamar Jackson, they're playing some pretty crappy quarterbacks coming up. And maybe you can throw Geno Smith into the decent category as well. But outside of that, they're playing a whole bunch of nothing at quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not going to apologize for that either.
No
one ever will.
You can't control your schedule.
Apologize for that. So look, in moment, it's good to feel good, right? But there is it's almost the quotient of the Miami Dolphins right now. Like, you could look at the Miami Dolphins as a threat in the playoffs, but look at who they've beaten and who they've lost to this season. Okay,
yeah,
they've beaten up on bad teams, and when they face a good team, they fold.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's what the Steelers are going to be or what they are, but I would be more high on my opinion of what they could do as far as getting to the postseason and succeeding in the postseason if I've seen that recent dominant stretch be against a Josh Allen or against the Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean, though? And I'm not going to go too far into that. By the way, in addition to the running backs, if you want to go look at on DKPittsburghSports.com, my story from yesterday when Lenny Faulkner was talking about the offense, the running game has been amazing too. And it is a direct correlation as we called this. And yeah, I will pat myself on the back here. We called this right before the bye when Broderick Jones entered the starting lineup for Dan Moore and how much better that running game looked with Broderick Jones in it. And then Broderick Jones got to start in week 9. And since week 9, this rushing attack has been absolutely on fire with Najee and Jalen running it. So look, it's that complimentary, again, that complimentary football that's so cliche nowadays. And Swan comes in with $10.
Appreciate it.
And we can talk about the Cardinals now. We can segue into it with this.
Yeah.
The 2 weapons that are now playing being Hollywood Brown and tight end Trey McBride. More concerned about McBride. He says since Kyler Murray's come back, 20 catches in the last 3 games. And great week. Well, great week from you too, Swan. We appreciate you. And look, Arizona is going to have some weapons to deal with, right? Yeah. Kyler's a weapon. Of course, we all know James Conner. Trey McBride at tight end, Hollywood Brown. So this isn't exactly just some bum team. They have some pretty decent options to get the ball to. And this isn't a walk-away game, I don't think. But again, it's important to reinforce that this should be a winnable game. Real quick from Daniel, where's Anthony McFarland? He's not running the football because Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are running it so damn well right now. There's your simplified answer. There's no reason to shoehorn Anthony McFarland onto the field when you have Najee and Jalen bursting for angry run awards and, looking so good and doing exactly what they've been doing. And again, go listen to yesterday's show and read what Eddie Faulkner talked about yesterday. Najee Harris is arguably having the best season of his career in terms of.
It's not even arguable.
but in terms of yards after contact and explosive runs and all of those metrics, he's having a really damn good year. And of course, we all know Jalen's emergence as well. So, that's a big thing. And Monongahela Mike says it here. 77 raised the bar. He certainly did. He certainly did. So again, Chris, this is not exactly, a cupcake walk-away matchup. This isn't, Ohio State playing Youngstown State. With all due respect to my Penguins, I gave them a game this year. This is a team that, Kyler, they've looked better at least when Kyler's been here, and they've probably taken themselves out of the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. But that's what this team is right now.
Yeah. Listen, when we talk about like, these are two games the Steelers have to win, these are some bad teams, of course, we say that also knowing like these are still NFL teams. Like it's not like they're going to be lining up and playing some Division II school or anything like that. These aren't your type of games where your favorite college, whether it's, Pitt, Penn State, whoever your favorite college is, lining up and it's one of those early season, okay, they're going to win 63-7. Like it's not one of those type of games. Those type of games don't come very often in the NFL. Miami putting up a 70 spot on Denver, that just doesn't happen in the NFL very often. So yeah, and Swan does, these are two must win, and it's a must win in a different type of way than the past two were, right? I mean, the past two, it's like you can't afford to go 0-2 back to back on the road against division opponents. You just can't afford to do that in order to keep pace.
But yeah, don't say that. Appalachian State won. He says this is Michigan versus Appalachian State. Appalachian State won that game. Don't say that.
This really can't be that, because listen, like you said, Kyler Murray can still, he's still, dangerous in certain ways. And if the Steelers don't properly defend him, he can cause some damage.
Yeah.
If the Steelers aren't buttoned up on the back end in the secondary, the secondary can get exposed, and some of them guys like McBride and Brown can go off. If the Steelers aren't, don't have any gap integrity up front, James Conner can have a field day running the football. It's still an NFL team. They're 2-10. They're a bad team overall compared to everybody else in the NFL, but they can still do it. Now, these are must win in terms of the fact that, listen, if the Steelers have playoff aspirations, these aren't just games you have to win. These are games you really need to be like, it needs to be at least quasi comfortable when you win. The Steelers are favored by 5.5. If they can't cover the spread against this team, it's a problem, right?
Yeah. And they have not done a great job of making wins comfortable this year.
No, they haven't.
No game has been comfortable this year.
But again, the solace from last week, though, they only put up 16 points. There was another 7 available if a red flag is thrown, and there's possibly even another at least 3, if not 7 more, if Kenny has a better ball to Deontay on a deep out route.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, they got a field goal on that, so you get another 4 points there. So, listen, those are plays that are there. They just need to get a little bit, clean up the details, get a little bit better with your execution in the red zone, and all of a sudden, this offense is very capable of putting up 23, 24, 25 points in a game, especially against teams that can't stop anybody from moving up and down the field and can't stop anybody from scoring touchdowns.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Get your picks in the chat. We'll throw them on the screen. Damon comes in with $4.99. He says, if we could play a dominant game Sunday in all 3 phases, do you think at that point the team has kind of weathered the storm, so to speak? He says 35-7 Steelers. Let's answer the question. If they're dominant in all 3 phases, have they weathered the storm? Again, it's that every week you never know what's going to happen component of it. But also, if the Steelers win this game by 3 scores, okay? Let's not say 35-7 bad. If they win this game by 3 scores, you're going to feel a hell lot better about them than you did when they squeaked out a win against the Bengals last week. And what I mean by that is, really good teams and contenders will do that kind of thing in December. They will win games by 2 or 3 scores that they are favored in, that they should win, and they will find a way to put that team away quickly. That said, as we just mentioned, the Steelers have not done that this year. Every win has been uncomfortable in some way.
Yeah.
Every win has been kind of like cringy almost in a way, like cringy from the standpoint of like it wasn't pretty and they don't care about how they win, but you want to see them win convincingly in some fashion. You want to see them win with some comfort there. So that being said, I'm going to call it at about a 2-score game. I think it's a 10 to 14 point game. I think it's like a 24-10 Steelers win. And I don't know if Arizona just, to be honest with you, on paper, just is good enough to compete with the Steelers. I just don't think they're good enough, to be honest with you. But again, that any given Sunday quotient. Billy put my prediction in here. I don't know about 2 touchdowns for Kenny. Maybe a touchdown for Kenny, a touchdown for Najee, or 2 for Najee and 1 for Jalen, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's a 24-10-ish kind of ball game. But I think the flow of it is more important than the outcome of it, provided it's a win. If this is like Steelers go up 21-0 at halftime, okay?
Yeah.
And then they kind of sputter in the second half, then we might question it a little bit. But we could still look away and say, hey, that's a 10-point win. That's a whatever point win. But it depends on the flow of the game. Like, these game flows are so important for this team. I'm going to go 24-10 Steelers. And, like, if I had a bold prediction to put, let's just say Kenny throws for 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go – I am also going more in the 2-score range. I do think they cover the spread, and I do think they win this game by at least 9, which would obviously make it a 2-score game. So, listen, I don't like the way this matchup goes for the Cardinals. The Steelers are running the ball really, really well. I'm really, really well. I really cannot understate that enough.
Yeah.
The Cardinals cornerbacks are not good enough to lock down Deontay or George. I could see some big plays happening there. I don't know if they hit as many explosive plays. A 20-yard, 20+ yards. I think there were 6 of them last week. I think they may hit like maybe 4 or 5. It's kind of hard to hit 6 every single week. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I do think the Steelers clean some stuff up a little bit. I think the Cardinals kind of play in a way that's going to kind of irritate the offense a bit. I don't think the offense will look as now that they've put what things look like under Faulkner and Sullivan on tape. I don't think it'll look as fluid as it did last week, but I think they are more productive in terms of scoring points. So I'm going to say final score is 23-13.
Okay.
I say Steelers win by 10. And my bold prediction for the game is let's see. What's my bold prediction? Both Najee and Jalen get at least 75 yards rushing.
Okay. I think that's valid. I think that's fair.
That's not that bold. I'm not like, really going out there, but I don't think either one of them have done that together in a game before. Usually it's been one guy or the other.
Pete says, I don't care who gets the touchdowns as long as they score 2. I think 3 is very feasible to ask in this game. I think 3 touchdowns is a good number for that offense to score. Yeah. And Swan brings it up here with the confidence in Eddie Faulkner and Mike Sullivan. Like, overall this week, Pickett, Tomlin, Faulkner himself, were really pleased with the flow and how things went against the Bengals.
Yep.
And Faulkner praised Sullivan for calling a good game. So let's see if they could do it again. That's the big thing about it.
I really don't feel like scoring more. Michael says scoring 20 is more than 20 is a gutsy call. I really don't feel like it is because they, like I said, they're one red flag away from scoring 23 last week. I mean, the touchdown was there. They just didn't challenge it for whatever reason, and they're playing at home. So if a similar play happens this week, Mike Tomlin's going to get to see it up on the scoreboard, and he'll throw the challenge flag.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think scoring more than 20, especially against a defense that might be even worse than Cincinnati's, and Cincinnati's is not a good defense.
Yeah.
I feel like scoring at least 20 is very, very feasible. I could be a little bit more bold and say they do score 3 touchdowns, but I'm going to say 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals.
Darren brings up my haircut, and I'm actually going this afternoon to get a haircut. Now, he brings up to your favorite barber here, suggestions for my next trim. What I like to do is I like to go very short on the sides, like a 1. I'll tell my barber like a 1, just trim it all the way down over here, and then take some off the top, and I like to just kind of bring it over, make it look nice. That's how I've always done my hair. Not always, but that's how in recent years I've done my hair is like that. And today I just happened to get home and get a shower and clean it up, for the show, and then clean it up for the barbers too. I'm sure your favorite barber can attest here. Like, I'm not a barber, so I can't speak for it, but I'd rather I'd rather cut clean hair than someone like Chris, who just wore a hat and, he takes it off and then it's all like, hat hairy and like bent down and bent all which ways, I don't know. That's how I feel.
Great Office reference right there. That's funny.
That's really good. My barber that I usually go to is up at home. I went to high school with him. Shout out to Ralph's in Hermitage, PA. Shout out to those guys. They're great. There you go. Look, barber said I'm easy work. He's right. I'm in and out. I'm 35 minutes. I'm in and out. I'm gonna shave before I go into. I've been letting this go a little bit. I'm gonna shave, clean this up. We're gonna go in and give almost a good canvas, for my barber to go in for. And your favorite barber, I appreciate you. So we're gonna end the show on that note.
So we've been talking a lot about your hair for the last few minutes.
I guess so. That's fine. Look, someone brought up my haircut, and then we have a barber in chat, literally. So what a picture! What a picture that would be, Corey, to get a cut by barber. Listen, yeah, it is easy for you guys sometimes, Darren, to steal the show. Okay, this is your show as much as it is ours. So we're gonna keep it that way. And look, Ryan says one on the sides, but nothing is on top. Watch how you phrase that next time, partner. Okay, that's all I can say about that. All right, it's Friday. We need to get out of here. It's a Friday. We're both feeling good. It's a feel good Friday.
Hold on a second. I'm really gonna.
What you gonna do, Chris? What's he gonna do? What is this about to be? Oh, look at that. That is our favorite co-pilot right there. That's our producer, for those that don't know. Chris, tell us about.
This is Fergus. He'll be 9 months old in just a few days.
Fergus.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Well,
he needs to go potty before I pick up my kids from school. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to do that here pretty soon. I guess I don't have my dog here, but my dog is at my dad's house. We've had him since I was a sophomore in high school. I'll just show a photo on the screen. That is Rudy.
Oh.
That is Rudy, 16 years young and still going. I've had him since I was in high school, and he's still going.
Jerry, no, I will not shave. No.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. All right. As Damon says, most of you will be tuning into the Ramon Foster Show, we hope, in about 28 minutes. Over under on the bell. It's a Friday, so I'm thinking like 4:04 today. I'm thinking a 4:04 over under on that today. Barbara, thank you for the gift. We appreciate that. Yeah, I know that dog, 16 years young. He's still going, too. And he's still spiteful as hell, too. He's funny as heck. We love him so much. I'm going 4:04 on Bell today. That's mine, and Swan agrees with that. So we will set that over under. We'll see what they come in at. Chris and I will be back on Monday to react to whatever just happened. And we're on a short week next week. We're Sunday into Thursday for football. So, no time, no rest for the weary here. This will be fun. All right, he's Chris and I'm Corey. This has been the Southside Beat on a football Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the game. Cheers. We'll talk to you Monday.